The quick service restaurant industry remains the biggest part of the food service sector, generating hundreds of millions of dollars in annual revenue. Operating in nearly 200,000 locations nationwide, it's clear that its dominance has been long fueled by convenience, affordability, and its deep cultural relevance in everyday American life, according to my friends at Statista. But have you ever stopped to answer the question, what happens when a founder challenges the notion that fast food has to be unhealthy food? And this week we put that question front and center when I sit down with my friend Jeff Fenster. He's the CEO and founder of everbowl, the rapidly growing superfood franchise which is redefining what convenient food can look like in America today. Its company was built on the belief that high quality, high dense, and nutrient-rich food should be accessible and affordable for everyone. He's transformed everbowl from a Southern California startup to a nationally recognized brand, which is fastly growing in new communities around America today in the fast food casual space. Under his leadership, everbowl has serviced more than 5 million consumers and customers and continues to attract approximately 50,000 new customers every month through a vertically integrated sourcing strategy which connects directly with harvest communities around the world. He's reshaping how superfoods are sourced, distributed, and scaled for the modern consumer and customers today. In our conversation, Jeff shares the entrepreneurial mindset required to build a category-defining brand, the operational systems needed to scale a brand on a national level, and why the future of the quick service industry may rely on companies willing to combine great nutrition, convenience, and an entrepreneurial grit which is human-focused. Jeff also shares his thoughts on leadership, supply chain, innovation, franchising, customer behavior, and what it takes to democratize healthier food choices to scale. From procurement to construction efficiencies, innovation, and culture building, he offers a behind-the-scenes look at what it really takes to disrupt one of the more competitive industries in all of America. And Finster joined me this week to tell me more. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. If you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program, and I'm super excited to learn about Ebola, how you're helping everbowl to how you're helping to revolutionize the quick service industry. It's great to see you, my friend, and happy Monday to you.
Well, thank you. Happy Monday.
Absolutely. So, Jeff, I wanted to start by asking you about Everbowl because I know that you believe that fast food doesn't always have to be unhealthy food, and you created Everbowl because you wanted nutrient-rich food fast for people, and I know you've serviced over 5 million customers. So tell me about Everbowl, how it works, and why you wanted to start the endeavor, my friend. Tell me more.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the average American needs access to food fast. Fast food was built under the original fast food was good food done fast, and now it's frozen bad food just also done fast. So I was trying to go back to the basics or unevolve back to where it started and provide nutritious, tasty, filling, and accessible food. So good food done fast and real food. Even McDonald's, if you go back to how their roots began, they began with quality meat, quality potatoes, quality everything. And over the years, they went from quality to speed. And unfortunately, they left the quality behind. And you always have to, it's a teeter totter. You always have to kind of push one side of the equation. It's hard to do both at the same time. And Everbowl is made from stuff that's been around forever. The idea is real food, not factory created laboratory stuff. Food that goes bad. If your food doesn't go bad, you probably shouldn't eat it. Twinkies. And as much as I grew up in the 80s and 90s eating McDonald's and I love a Big Mac, it tastes wonderful. I've seen videos of a Big Mac and French fry sitting on a counter and it just does not go bad. That's not nutritious. And so it's about putting the right fuel in our body so we can take care of who we are. And, it's funny because people take care of their cars better than they take care of their bodies. You try to put anything but fuel in someone's car, they're going to beat you up or call the police, even if they're very low on fuel. But when they're hungry, and I'm guilty of this too, we'll eat junk food, we'll eat crap. So the way we need to change that narrative and help everybody is make quality, nutritious, better for you products available that are filling, delicious, accessible, and affordable. And that's what fast food used to do with good food. And we're trying to now go back to the pre-style, which is instead of fast food, it's good food done fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff, you also want to make it more accessible for people. And I know that you've got a sourcing model that prioritizes superfoods and makes it direct to the communities that you want to serve both here at home and around the world. So talk to me about making superfoods more accessible and what that means to you, my friend.
Sure, yeah. So the government subsidizes a lot of the fast food products, whether it's the meat or the potatoes or the ingredients. So you're able to sell a hamburger for $1. Unfortunately, we don't do that with fresh fruit. We don't do that with fresh vegetables as often. So there's these things called food deserts. And when you go to certain pockets of America, there isn't access to some of these better for you ingredients. So they're limited to what kind of restaurants can be there. And so I started a company called Unevolved Products where we source and our own superfoods and we manufacture our own flavors and our own proprietary blends. So I can basically put it wherever I want in America and remove these food deserts. And so that was the spirit of Unevolved Products and that vertical integration and making it accessible, as well as on the construction side, ensuring that we were able to build these things, affordable and quickly to empower all Americans that want to get involved at the ownership side with us to take control of their financial freedom and not have to invest too much upfront capital before they know that it's going to work. And so by us reducing the cost to open and the cost to access to these foods, we're able to put Everbowls in communities that we wouldn't have been able to had I not done that because the model wouldn't work economically.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that Everbowl has served over 5 million customers today.
I don't know if that number is accurate. I like the way it sounds. I love it. So Kevin, from your mouth to the world, I'm in. But I can't verify 5 million, but I like the way it sounds.
Yeah, and I know that you're rapidly growing every month, and I'm curious to know.
Actually, it would be over 5 million. You're right. It's actually higher now that I do the math in my head. You're the executive, Kevin. I'm going to work for you.
Well, that's the power of research before a podcast, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. So I know that you've serviced over 5 million people, and you're growing rapidly every month. So I'm curious to ask you, what do you think has been the key to scaling both your impact and quality at the same time? How do you do that at scale, in your opinion, my friend?
Well, vertical integration helps, which is kind of what we just touched on the last question. But more importantly, what it's been is understanding that you got to be a customer of your own brand. And a lot of owners and chefs and founders of companies, they forget to be their own customer. I like to stop and think about it. If I was the customer in this experience, would I like it? Would I come back? And if you answer that with a yes, you're probably doing the right things and you're going to be successful. It's when you nickel and dime a customer over something that would piss you off also, or we make a mistake and instead of just giving them a brand new one, you say, we'll give you $2 off or something that's just going to annoy them. When someone's having a bad day, you need to change the narrative. But when someone's having a good day, you can't get in the way of it. And it's so easy to just remember that the lifetime value of a customer is so much more valuable than whatever that interaction is, and play the long game and not make it transactional. And so that has really allowed us to scale, because I didn't come in with any restaurant experience, but it's just about making friends and having fun. And those are the two rules at everbowl that basically answer what I just said of how to do that. Make friends with your customers, make friends with your employees, make friends with your vendors and suppliers, make friends with investors, make friends with whoever it is that you are addressing or catering to, and it'll work. Because when you act like a good friend, you do the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jeff, in your opinion, what does it mean to embrace innovation and be a proactive and forward-thinking leader in business? What do you think that means to you, my friend?
It means we never start the question with what we used to do. We use first principles. First principles means you pretend you stepped in today and bought the business. You stepped in today and had to come with zero experience. So you had to look at what the challenge is and identify what is available resources in front of me to solve it. So today we have AI. When I started, we didn't have AI. When I got into business, I didn't have the internet. So as these things as technologies have changed, as opportunities have progressed, the leaders that leverage the facts that every day is a new day and every day is information. I mean, Bannister is the first person to ever run a 4-minute mile. Before he ever did it, they thought it was physically impossible for a human to do it. Forever, it could not be done. He did it, and 18 days later, it was done again, and now thousands of people have done it. It's not that all of a sudden they could do it. It was what changed was their mind now recognized, and so exposure leads to expansion. The second you're exposed to new ideas, it expands what you're capable of. And so to embrace innovation, to embrace forward thinking, you have to forget what you used to do, forget the status quo, and take all new information and apply it like it's starting from scratch, and be a beginner and never have bias.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff, I'm curious to ask you about expanding entrepreneurship, because LinkedIn did a study last year that said 77% of people who want to get into business or who are entrepreneurs already think that business or starting a business is more attainable than ever before, my friend, thanks to things like AI, as you mentioned before, and low-cost tools. And 69% believe that business is the best way to grow like sustainable growth, my friend. So when you hear those 77 and 69% numbers, I'm curious, what thoughts come to mind on why it's a great time to be an entrepreneur today, my friend?
Well, I'm going to actually challenge that perspective a little bit. I don't believe most people should start a company. I believe everyone should be an entrepreneur, though. And you can be an entrepreneur whether you're the starting founder or not. Everybody should act like an entrepreneur in whatever role or capacity they are at whatever job or organization they are. Because starting from scratch is a different skill than taking something that's already up and running and pushing it forward and optimizing. I am not the guy to go join Google or Facebook or SpaceX or Microsoft and add a ton of value, because I'm a founding startup guy who likes to go from us talking about an idea to putting it together. The skills required for that is having a lot of resources and being resourceful and having relationship capital and being dumb enough and ignorant enough to try things that most people may say aren't going to work. But once they work, assuming they work, I'm not the right skill set to now optimize, because I'm more likely to disrupt it and break it, because I'm going to challenge it at all times. So you have to put yourself in an entrepreneurial position to win. So whether you're the number two at a company or you're the number 2,000 at a company, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to basically be a problem solver. You're going to be innovative, disruptive, and resourceful. You're going to work to get the job not just done, but till it can't be done better. You don't punch a clock and you don't say the word work. What you do for a living is not work. It's whatever it is that you're doing. You're so passionate about it. It's all you can think about when you're not thinking about your family or other behaviors. That is a part of you. And if that doesn't answer, if that's not you, if it doesn't resonate, then I got to tell you, you should not even consider starting a company because you're going to compete with people who will. So when I hear those statistics, I love it, but I hope that also applies to people who are not the person who just starts it from scratch, but they may be early on in the company and have a lot of impact. Because when you start to do that, that's entrepreneurship to me. Being a problem solver, like I said, resourceful, is disruptive, innovative, and first principle thinking. But if I was to isolate your question and answer it just the way you asked it, it scares me because it means that a lot of people are going to embark in an area without really understanding it, because we've had great books like 4-Hour Workweek. While it's a great read, it's not meant for true entrepreneurship. It's meant for lifestyle businesses, and that's a different thing. If we compete, I'm going to work 23 and a half hours a day if I have to. So if you don't want to do that, don't compete. If you're better than me, you may not have to do 23 and a half. You may be able to do 10 and beat me, but I'm going to force you to be your best and put in the work. And I'm not unique. The people I compete with at the high levels, they're the same way. I mean, look at Elon Musk and how hard he works. It's legendary what he does, even at this stage, and that's why he's successful. So I think it's never been easier to be an entrepreneur, but it's also never been harder to be successful. So you got to play it right, and you got to do an honest assessment of where you are as a person, what your skills are, what your tolerance level is for pain, isolation, and discouragement. And do you like the idea of sitting in a storm nonstop, knowing that you may not get out of it, but enjoy it? And if you can embrace and enjoy it, then you should do it. So it's never been easier, but it's also never been harder.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, Jeff, what are your thoughts on how we should redefine the word sustainability in business? What do you think is the new modern definition of sustainability and entrepreneurship today?
In entrepreneurship, like as it relates to being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
That's a great question, Kevin. I've actually never been asked anything like that. So sustainability as an entrepreneur, like what would I think about that today? So it used to be more about the environment. I think it should still play off the environment, but it would be about efficiency. Sustainability should imply that the business that you are creating, the operation you're seeding, or the service you're building, whatever it is that you're doing, should be able to continue and have continuity with or without you, and ideally with or without changes in technology. So you would want to be tech agnostic but tech forward. You'd want to be able to understand consumer behavior and have the sustainability to be relevant. Relevant, I guess. So I'm going to tie it to the word relevant now that I'm speaking my thoughts out loud. To me, it would be a synonym for relevant in entrepreneurship today, because the relevancy factor is dropping so fast in so many areas that entire industries are getting essentially erased with what automation and robotics and AI can do, or looks like it will do soon. I mean, think about taxi cab drivers. In 10 years, are they going to be needed with autonomous driving? Probably not. So if you were starting a cab company for sustainability, you'd want to be relevant. So you better do a mix or a blend of driverless cars that are using the ability for the car itself to be the product, not the driver. And sustainability would be less reliance and dependency on people, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there, Jeff. And I also wanted to ask you about the importance of diversity of thinking in business. So, Jeff, I have cerebral palsy, and I talk to organizations about the importance of hiring folks with disabilities all the time. And I'm curious about your thoughts on how people with disabilities can add a competitive advantage to organizations. What are your thoughts there, my friend?
I first of all, I think we all have a disability. It's just, where is it shown? Some of it is in how we think. Some of it's in our personality. Some of it's in our physical. So I think everybody has an area of them that we could call a disability. But what I love about your question, and I think it's so important, is individuals with disability. They have they've had it hard, and they've overcome that. So they have a perseverance factor that is something that should be respected, and it is inspiring. They have a view where they don't take the status quo that a lot of other, we'll say, normal, non-defined, people with non-defined disabilities take for granted. There's a saying that I think about all the time, and it's not something I created. It's something I read that says, if you could take all your problems and put it in a hat, and everyone in the world did it, and you're going to pick someone else's, would you play the game or would you keep your own problems? And most people would keep their own problems, but those problems become barriers of their own success. And I feel that individuals that have overcome or had to work around and with disabilities and be a harder start or a harder road, they have the muscle in their own right that has allowed me to be successful. Because I was a small kid who played sports, so I had to work twice as hard as all of my friends, so the coaches would even respect me and demonstrate my skill, because I didn't have that look that was that tall, big guy is going to be great. I had the, well, he's fast, but he's little. So working hard is what I learned to do when I was young. But those individuals that didn't have to do that because they had the physical prowess that got them picked first, and they had natural skill that just was easy for them, they never worked that muscle of hard work and perseverance. So now as adults, whenever they work hard, what they think is hard to me is a half a day. And I feel that would also be true. Someone like yourself, Kevin, you must have had to overcome a lot as an individual who, as you said, has cerebral palsy. I mean, here you are, you're a podcast host, you're successful. It didn't even enter my mind to think about your disability as a issue for you. So clearly you have not allowed it to be a disability. It's just become who you are. And that muscle that you use to do that you've trained over the years, that perseverance, that mindset, is probably why you're so successful in what you do as a podcast host and in all the areas of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff, I know that you have very specific thoughts on things like operational excellence, whether it's from procurement to supply chain to construction overall efficiency. So I'm wondering how you view, operational excellence and efficiency in the same sentence, my friend. How do you think they're interconnected in the work you do in the quick service restaurant industry, my friend?
So operational excellence to me is, in operations or in anything, excellence to me is you did the absolute best you can. Like, I'm on this show with you. Am I doing 5 things or am I engaged with you? As soon as we're done, I might be switching to something else, but you're getting my best. Whether it's good or not, I don't, that's not up for me to decide. This is my best. So it's the best I can do, and I'm getting your best. So we're both operating with excellence. And when we don't operate with excellence and we don't give our absolute best and we leave stuff on the table, mistakes are more likely to happen. The quality gets degraded. So in business, as you tied it to restaurants, as you tied it to efficiency, it's inefficient to not do your best. Because in 30 minutes, me and you can have a great show. But if I'm haphazardly with you and I'm watching the TV show here and filling this out over here and not really paying attention, we're not going to get the same quality in 30 minutes. So we're going to be inefficient. And from a quick serve restaurant and the consumer and the behavior of training and the speed with which the America and the world operates today, now that we're in the social media world of 10 seconds or less, people don't have patience for that. And so you've got to demonstrate and create the experience very quickly, and it's got to be authentic. And so operational excellence to me is remarkability everywhere. And that's what I strive for. And that's what is also very attractive and inspiring. And the true behemoths in this world that everyone wants to meet, whether it's in sports like the LeBron James and Michael Jordans, or, in acting, pick your, the best actors or musicians or CEOs or teachers, they pour their best into what they're doing. And if you do that, you get better every day. So it's not a matter of if you become great, it's a matter of when you become great. So I might take longer than you, Kevin, because you're better at it than me, but I'm going to get there. I'm going to get to the top of the mountain behind your head. It may take me longer than everybody else because I'm just not that qualified or I didn't have that natural ability, but I'm going to get to the top of that mountain. So I know I'm going to be great at whatever I do. And I can change the I hope I'm good to I know I'm going to. So it's a matter of when I'm good. And I don't get discouraged because the answer is inevitable. 2 + 2 is 4. So all I got to do is keep moving until I get to the 4, and I can do that. And so it's a rewarding perspective, operational excellence, because it's something we can control today. I don't care what my skill level is. I can give you my best. And that's all you can ask out of me. And I can put my head on the pillow feeling good. And every day I do my best. I just get better till eventually I go from being really bad to basic to okay to average to better than average to advanced to very good to great to superstar to world's best. I mean, you got to live long enough to get the world's best, but if I live long enough doing something every day, I will become the world's best. Just don't know when that's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff, in the few minutes I have left with you, I'm curious to get your perspective on the correlation between, discipline and ambition in business, and whether you think there's a correlation between discipline and ambition, my friend. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, see, I don't have a lot of discipline. It may seem like I do, and I have a lot of ambition, but I'm disciplined in my ambition. I'm not disciplined in what I do every day, because discipline in what you do every day says every day I put my socks on the same way. That's discipline. But I put my socks on every day, and that's also discipline. But what I am disciplined in is I will always challenge my own thinking. I will always be okay being wrong if you can give a better way or we can find it. And it's the famous also saying, which is, would you rather be right or would you rather win? I always want to win. So I don't fight on a hill because it's my idea. If you got a better idea, Kevin, and you can demonstrate that to me, I will move as fast as humanly possible in your direction that you want to go. But you got to be able to demonstrate it, because I'm also going to challenge it. Because I'm going to challenge everything. I'm going to self-challenge. I'm going to challenge you. It's very, very good to challenge. And the discipline in what we have, because even someone who's non-disciplined, they're actually disciplined in being undisciplined, right? So you are what you are. It's the behaviors and habits that we've created. And so you got to focus on why winners win, what creates winning, not the specific activity. Meaning, yes, I shoot enough threes, I can win the basketball game. But I got to focus on what I need to do to be able to shoot and make a lot of threes. And I may not make them today and I may not make them tomorrow, but if I chase a different path, like people chase fad diets left and right. Oh, it's not working. It's not working. It's not working. You could literally just eat whatever you're eating today and exercise. And if you do that every day and you eat a little less than you burn, you will get in shape. So the discipline is not just saying you want to exercise, it's understanding what it's going to take to do that and then challenging your own approach when that happens.
Yeah, and finally, Jim, I've got two questions left for you, and I'm curious to ask you about how you think, the Gen Z expectations of the food service industry is changing, because they're more attracted now to nutrient dense or better appealing meals to the eye, my friend. So how do you think the Gen Z expectations of the quick service food industry will impact your decisions moving forward, my friend? What are your thoughts there?
Well, I'm in that category to begin with for that reason. The Gen Z and younger, they grew up in an era where we had the knowledge and information. Like I said, I'm an 80s and 90s kid, so we had McDonald's for dinner around the dinner table. We didn't have the internet and the knowledge we have today to say what is quality food, what is the impact on our body and longevity, and how it makes you feel in the fuel. So it's different. They're basically doing exactly what we've talked about. They're taking first world thinking and saying we need to do better. And so that's why you see the brands like McDonald's introducing better for you or trying to be better for you items and trying to remove some of the bad things. And you're starting to see legacy brands change some of the products that have been around for 50 years with better ingredients, because it matters. And so it is going to challenge brands across the world, because look, I can tell you I want to do whatever I want to do, but what drives my decision making is what my customers tell me. If a customer doesn't like something I'm doing, I'm going to change it. So society and us as a civilization and communities, we have the power to drive business where we want it. We just have to understand that what we say doesn't matter. It's what we do. So business owners and entrepreneurs follow the behaviors and actions you do with your wallet, not your mouth. So I can sit there and say whatever I want, but if I spend the money still, then they don't care. So it's like we can all say, oh, no fast food, no fast food, no fast food. But if the McDonald's line is wrapped around the block, McDonald's is going to keep selling burgers, even if they're being talked about negatively. And burgers aren't bad. I just am saying that's their product. Conversely, though, if you stop going, they're going to change their model. They have to. And so I think it's extremely impactful.
Yeah, you got to listen to the market always, my friend. But I know, just speaking with you, my friend, and knowing my research on you, you're into sports, buddy. So as an old sports reporter, I'm going to ask you, how do you think sports can contribute to business success. Tell me about your love of sports and ultimately how you want your legacy to be defined, my friend. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think every kid should play sports. Whether you're good at it or not, it doesn't matter because every kid's going to eventually be an adult. And school teaches kids the wrong way. They learn a lesson and then take a test. In adulthood, we take a test and then learn a lesson. So in sports, you play the game and then find out what you need to work on. So it's more like adulting when you're young than it is than school. It teaches you teamwork. It teaches you that life is not fair. Life's not supposed to be fair. This idea of fair is needs to be removed from people's vernacular. Pursuit of equality means we all have an equal opportunity to play or try or attempt. It doesn't mean we all get the same result. It doesn't mean the ball breaks our way. It doesn't mean that fair is a part of it. And so sports aren't fair because you have humans that are referees and you have wind and you have conditions and you have anomalies and you have all these variables that take, regardless of how hard I train, I can't stop someone from pushing me in the back before I get to score that goal or shoot that shot. Even if it's a foul or not, you can get injured. There are things that just derail all your hard work. And so it's such a great microcosm of what it takes to be successful. And if you can overcome the requirement, if you can train your ass off like you would have to be successful in sport, if you can be a good teammate, if you can understand coaching, if you could feel that your coach isn't playing you and it's not fair or weather conditions or opportunities, all of that happens when you're a kid in sports. So it prepares you what adulting is about because without it, they're just ill prepared to be an adult.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff, finally, tell me if people want to get connected with you personally or everbowl. What's the best way they can do that, my friend?
everbowl.com is a great place to go. And you can also find us on Instagram, at Everbowl Craft Superfood, LinkedIn if you're looking for work. Franchisees, go to everbowl.com and check out our franchise page. We have over 100 stores in 30 plus states and opening, 5 more next month. So if you haven't had us yet, make sure you give it a try. I'd love to hear about it. So send me a message and tell me what you think.
Well, absolutely. Well, Jeff, I want to thank you for engaging in conversation. I know how busy your schedule is, so I want to thank you for carving out a couple of minutes to talk to me about everbowl and franchising and everything in between, my friend. I think you're doing great work, and I want to thank you for being here. It's most appreciated.
Well, thank you, Kevin. It's an honor and privilege to come on. I'm grateful to be able to meet you and get to hang with you for a little while. Love what you're doing. Love the depth of your questions. It was informative and it forced me to think, so I enjoyed it. So keep doing what you're doing, and I'm a fan, and I'm going to keep listening. And now I'm going to become a audience member of your show. So thank you, Kevin.